Hey guys, what's going on? It is Wednesday, and if it is Wednesday, it is time for Storytime with Taffy, episode number 17. Broken record time, big week for the channel. I know, right? It happened again. It was a big 7-day stretch. We went from Blame Truth to a fan PA that Rob edited just because he liked it so much, into our Gotham City Imposters PA on Sunday, into which I sunk a ton of time doing vocals of the Joker, of Mark Hamill's version of the Joker, and then Sunday into a passive aggression with Nanners, who, no big deal, just Adam Montoya. If you haven't seen any of these, I will probably throw up some links and some annotations. I'm especially trying to get some love to the April Fool's video because it's a Gotham City Imposters video. I think it's falling a little bit by the wayside. I'm really proud of the voiceover work that my friend Stacy and I did and the editing that Rob put together. As always, he went above and beyond. So I'm just trying to give it a little extra push because there's a certain quality about that video that we're trying to incorporate in a lot more videos, or at least trying to angle the community that way, where it's a lot less straight up definition between commentary and creative work and just kind of mashing the two together. It's a lot of fun. We're working on a making of video for the GCI April Fools, but I just kind of hope that it gets enough attention because it's a good video. Frankly, I think it's pretty entertaining. Up on deck for the channel, we have recorded PAs with Straight Up Knives, Matt HD Gamer, and Evan Eckert. The lineup stays strong and continues on. I also have a little video that went up yesterday. I got into grad school. I'm not going to belabor the point here, but if anybody wants to go hear about that, the video will be in the Storytime playlist right behind this one. So a big week. There was some bad stuff in there too. I've had some familial issues that it's really not my story to share, so I won't. So it hasn't all been peaches and cream this week, but all in all, for the most part, a little bit of kind of really bad news along with a whole lot of really good news. So I'm trying to keep on the upswing. That does not deter me from the fact that I have a story to tell, and a good story. I was so excited when I got this recommendation from one of our own, the one, the only Crooked Rain, who says, Taffy, what was the most vivid dream you can remember to date? And the most vivid dream that I've ever had, I've always been a really vivid dreamer, really crazy dreams. I used to keep a dream journal. I don't want to toot my own horn, but it's one of those things where I tell people I'm a vivid dreamer, and then they come back with, oh my god, I totally have crazy dreams too. Like the other day, I dreamt that I was in my room, and I was like sitting there doing homework, and like this penguin came up to me, only like this penguin could talk. Isn't that crazy? Because like penguins can't talk. And I want to look at them. I'm like, oh yeah, that's fucking nuts. You should start a dream journal, because that is, whew. That is, did you have a dream once you could fly? Oh my god, have you had that one too? I thought I was the only one. My dreams are a little bit more intense. They're a little bit more vivid. They're sometimes in color, sometimes not. They have crazy plot lines. Like, it's basically like I stop watching TV, I go to bed, and then I turn on my subconscious TV so that I may be forever entertained. So here's the backstory. I had just left the city of Philadelphia because my car had been broken into, and I decided that my car was too nice for the neighborhood I lived in, so I was going to drive it from Philadelphia to Idaho, which I managed to do in 3 days, about 14 hours straight driving per day. And on my first stop, I stayed in South Bend, Indiana, home of Notre Dame, the Fightin' Irish. And I was in this hotel room. Basically, I just stopped long enough to sleep. I got into a hotel that I'd stayed in on tour. They recognized me and even gave me sort of a discount for having been there before. And I went in there, I unloaded my stuff. I think I watched a little bit of internet porn, and I went to sleep. And this was the evening's entertainment that my mind had laid out for me. The dream was as such. Picture a landscape that is somewhere in between LA Noire and Sin City. Of all the offices in all the world, she walked into mine situation. I was a detective who was kind of a drunk, who was down on his luck because he had this crime family that I was fighting, and it had claimed my marriage and my reputation, and I was known as kind of the crazy guy who had spent his entire career devoted to this one case that he was never going to solve. And so in this dream, I'm sitting at my desk, by myself in a corner, and I get this anonymous tip through this phone call that I need to go to this warehouse in the middle of nowhere so that I can investigate this crime family, and that the lead that I've been looking for years and years and years of searching and drinking and fighting and losing in court, all the effort and turmoil might finally be at this warehouse at the edge of town. So I grab my little revolver 6-shooter and I stuff it in my waistband, and I put on my fedora and my trench coat, and I get in my big beat up Chrysler or Cadillac or whatever the hell I was driving, and I go to the edge of town, and I end up in this warehouse, and I'm investigating, and I'm snooping around with my 6-shooter out, and out from behind a big pile of boxes, a goon jumps me. Big mafia family henchman gets up from behind me and chloroforms the shit out of me. Big rag, covered in chemicals, drugs the hell out of me, and I collapse, and as I'm collapsing and I'm starting to black out, I look up and I see the mob boss, the head of the family, the big badass motherfucker that I've been chasing for so long, walks out in his $1,000 suit with a couple of henchmen and does his sort of villain expository speech where he says, you know, you've been chasing us for so long, we've managed to get you discredited, you've just been getting too close, and now I think we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna let you see the puzzle pieces that you were missing, the things that you needed to beat us, and you will never get them now, but at least you'll have answers. You'll have answers as to how you could have brought us down from the inside, and then after that, we're gonna kill you. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. We're gonna torture you psychologically a little bit, and then we're gonna put a bullet in your skull and we're gonna toss you in the river. So one of the first things they do is they put me in this car and they keep dosing me with like a syringe to keep me conscious and pliable, but not enough that I can fight back. Like, I'm barely able to keep my eyes open. The goons hold me to keep me from falling over, and they start telling me this huge story about corruption and government and officials that they own and real estate that they're taking over because they're going to become like kind of slumlords, and they need all this geographical territory to do it. And he says, one of the best examples I can possibly give you is of this free clinic, this stupid free clinic that stood in the way of our expansion into such and such part of town, into, we'll say, Fishtown, since I was just talking about Philadelphia. We've been trying to take over Fishtown, but as long as this free clinic's in the way, we can't do it. So I'm going to show you the faces of the people whose lives we're going to ruin because we can, because screw you and we have the power, and we're going to walk in here and we're going to meet all the nice, kindly doctors who patch up all the people we put bullet holes in and don't ask for any money. And I'm panicking and I'm freaking out and I'm trying to figure out how to get out of this situation. The two goons grab me, drag me through the front door. This is actually where the story starts to get interesting to me. We go into the front door and the mob boss is not completely unsavvy socially. You don't get to be the head of anything without knowing how to finesse people and act and lie and speechify. So we get into the front door and he pretends that he is a real estate investor who also happens to have a philanthropic side and wants to know what he can do to give back to his community. And he saw this free clinic and all the noble work they did, and he was just really eager to meet whoever was the patron saint who ran this place. And the whole time I'm flopped there like a rag doll. And so the nurse or orderly, whoever it is, goes and grabs this. Turns out to be like a 50-year-old, very lean British lady. Think about Helen Mirren or Emma Thompson. Just a slender, middle-aged British lady walks down the hallway and comes up and says, "Oh, hello. Well, welcome to our free clinic. I was really hoping to meet the person who said that they would possibly make a large donation, blah, 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 blah." And so she gets into this sort of walking them through the hospital tour, and they're dragging me behind, and their explanation was, we have this associate who is a total drunk and has started to turn to the smack, and we brought him in here in the hopes that maybe we could just take a moment to introduce ourselves personally to the people that you're helping, also the place where it's happening. So it's like you, the establishment, and on the other side we have the people who are directly affected, and it just gives us a better idea of what kind of institution we might be investing in. And she seems genuinely touched, and yet at the same time I'm looking at this lady, and even though I can't speak other than like blah, 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 all I can think is she seems very intelligent. Obviously she has to realize that this is somebody unsavory with hired muscle dragging around a drugged person, and I can't figure out why she's allowing this to happen. And so she's giving this grand tour, and she shows them the entire facility, and the entire time they're dragging me along, and every once in a while one of these big thick brutes stabs the shit out of me with a hypodermic to keep me drugged up. And towards the end of this tour, she is very magnanimous and very open and receptive to these guys, and says, "Listen, I just wanted you to know that as a symbol of our appreciation, we just wanted to offer each of you a full, thorough physical, just to let you know." And I'm really, like, I apologize for my, like, shitty thrown together British, but I'm not, like, voice acting right now just so much as I'm trying to delineate characters. But I just wanted to let you know that we're very thankful, and as a token of our gratitude, we wanted to offer each of you and your men a quick once-over, just kind of a tune-up, as it were. So if you would like to follow us, and of course we'll see to your friend who does in fact look very ill. And so they start to separate us, and for the first time time in the entirety of this scheme that this mob boss has hatched, things aren't going the way that he planned exactly. Like, he just kind of expected to be groveled at and have a lot of nice things said to him so that people could get his money. And as they're separating us, I mean, what are you going to say? A free service? Absolutely, sure. And in his line of work, I'm willing to bet that the health benefits are not all that great. So they start to usher us into separate rooms, and the next thing I know is these like really thick, big, muscular orderlies from the hospital start helping. They start guiding and ushering people, and at the entire time that this is going on, this British hospital administrator is just kind of guiding traffic and putting people into separate rooms. And as the orderlies start to pull the muscle away into their own separate examination rooms, I have a couple of big guys that are helping me, and they just kind of lean me up against a wall, and for a split second, for the first time, I'm starting to see inner workings of this hospital plot. I'm thinking maybe they figured it out, like maybe my badge is showing, or they saw me in a newspaper. Hell, maybe I'd been there before. And I feel that I can start to move my fingers and my toes a little bit. So I'm being like leaned up against this wall, and this big, thick orderly is kind of just propping me up. And I finally, like, I'm trying to speak, and, you know, it's been babble I've been trying to speak the whole time, but it's been babble, but now I can start to form the words. And the orderly leaves me for a split second, and it starts to come together. And so I can't find anybody to warn them about what's going on, about the fact that these guys are mob bosses and I'm a cop and that they're going to destroy this place. And I'm like, screw it. You know what? I need to get the hell out of here. I can get some backup and come back here. I have all the pieces I need now to bring this entire crime family down. So I just start staggering towards the front door, and I'm walking and hobbling and bouncing off of walls and knocking over trays of shit. And I get to the first examination room where they took some of the hired muscle, and I kind of peek in as I'm walking past, and one of the orderlies is drilling into this guy's fucking head. And I don't mean like brain surgery. I mean like flat out brutal Saw House on Haunted Hill murder. And I keep going, and it takes me a second before I'm starting to pass the second room, and I'm having a hard time comprehending it. And it only starts to make a little bit of sense to me because right now I'm so groggy that all I can focus on is getting to the door, that as I'm passing the second examination room, I see a second set of orderlies just like holding down the muscle and gassing him to death. And so now, as groggy as I am, I'm starting to shift my focus to, are these hospital patrons killing people? What the hell is going on? And I start to kind of half jog and trot, and I go past the first examination room where the mob boss is, and he is having a scalpel buried into the side of his ear with his mouth covered up. There's this massive brute of an orderly is just destroying him. So at this point, I'm really not feeling a whole lot of safety coming from anywhere. So I start to really be able to jog and move, and I get right about to the front door, and right as I get my hand on the bar of the front door, two big blood-soaked orderlies swoop in and grab me by the arms and spin me around, and I hear the British lady say, "Take him to examination room 4." And at this point, I regain some semblance of speech, so and that's just enough to get her attention. And she comes over and she leans into me, she says, "What?" And I said, I'm a cop. I'm a cop. They grabbed me. They kidnapped me. I'm here to help you." And she says, "I still need you to go be looked over. Take him to 4. And I was like, no, wait, no. And I start to get panicked because now my feet are dragging. Like, once again, I'm being picked up, and I'm way too weak to be fighting back. And I start to just finally scream, and I scream at the top of my lungs. I scream, "God damn it, I was ready to die to protect you people." And she says, "Stop." And the orderly stopped dragging me, and she walks over and leans in. And the last part of my dream, and this is it, right after she says this, I wake up. She leans into my ear and says, "You still can." And that was it. I woke up. So apparently I died. How's that for a cliffhanger? I was really impressed. I wrote down that dream the next day because I can't write anything that good. I'm amazed that I imagined it. Either way, I have a lot of dreams, but I don't have an awful lot of dreams that I wake up and instantly want to write them down because I don't ever want to forget that I had it. And that was one of those dreams where I was just like, shit, I don't ever want to forget that I had that dream. That was creepy and kind of cool. And I really am kind of glad that Crook had mentioned it because I'd have never thought to have shared that here. So I was really excited to tell you guys about this today and all the good news that's happened this this week, and I got into grad school, so hell yeah, good week all the way around. Thank you guys for being here today. In the comment section below, I want you to leave comments, questions, suggestions, and this time I want you to leave me like a 2-sentence blurb of like the craziest dream that you've ever had, because this is a super cool topic to me. So like a 2-sentence blurb for the one that I just gave you would be, I was a kidnapped gumshoe who was murdered alongside the mafia men by crazy hospital people. And that's what I want to see below. It's just a collection of all your weirdest shit just kind of flopped out on the internet, and we'll all take a look and have a laugh and have a sigh and a giggle and a scream, and it'll be good times had by all. Episode number 17 is in the books. Thank you guys for joining me. And on behalf of the Mr. Waffles channel, this is Taffy, and I am out.